They haven't texted. They haven't called. It's been days, maybe weeks. You're staring at your phone, wondering if they even care. But here's the truth. Most people don't tell you. Your silence is louder than any message you could have sent. And right now, while you're sitting there thinking they've forgotten you, they're actually obsessing over you more than ever. You see, the human mind is wired to crave closure. When someone suddenly disappears, when attention, affection, and validation are no longer freely given, it creates a mental void. And that void doesn't stay empty. It fills with curiosity, with questions, with regret, with obsession. They may act like they're unbothered. They may post like they've moved on. But deep down, they're playing a movie in their mind, a movie of every moment, every word, every touch you ever shared. And here's what's even more powerful. They don't miss the version of you that begged or pleaded. They're starting to miss the version of you that pulled away. No contact isn't just silence. It's psychological impact. It's the mirror you hold up to them. And sometimes, that mirror forces them to face the parts of themselves they tried to avoid. They can't unsee your absence. They can't unfeel your energy. And that quiet, it becomes loud in their mind. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why no contact is making them obsessed with you, even if they pretend it's not. You'll understand the deep psychological reasons behind their silence, how your discipline triggers their desire, and why your withdrawal is doing more damage than your presence ever could. If you've ever wondered what goes through their mind when you stop giving a damn, stay with me. This video is not about games. It's about truth. It's about power. And most importantly, it's about reclaiming your peace while they quietly lose theirs. Let's begin. Number 1. Silence triggers the mind more than words ever could. The brain is an obsessive meaning maker. When someone cuts off contact, it doesn't interpret that as nothing. It sees it as an unfinished story. Your silence becomes a mystery they're desperate to solve. In the absence of answers, their mind fills in the blanks. And most often, it fills those blanks with thoughts of you. That's the paradox of no contact. The less they hear from you, the more they think about you. It's not attention that creates obsession. It's uncertainty. Silence is ambiguity, and ambiguity triggers the part of the brain responsible for curiosity and emotional recall. They start asking themselves, why aren't you reaching out? Are you over it? Have you replaced them? Are you happier now? These questions don't fade. They echo, and the echo gets louder every time they scroll past your name, see an old photo, or lie awake at night. Stoic philosophy teaches us to master what we can control, our response, not theirs. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is your silence. When you choose not to chase, not to explain, not to break the silence first, you hold the power of their thoughts in your hands without lifting a finger. And ironically, the more you resist the urge to reach out, the more they feel your presence. Because the brain doesn't let go of things that feel unresolved. So while you're working on yourself, they're working overtime, mentally replaying everything they once took for granted. That's why no contact works. Because when you're no longer available, you become unforgettable. Number 2. Emotional detachment creates the illusion of strength, and that attracts obsession. When you go no contact and emotionally detach, you're not being cold, you're being powerful. In a world where people constantly seek reassurance, your calm withdrawal is rare, and that rarity is magnetic. Emotionally detached doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you feel deeply, but refuse to let those feelings control your actions. Psychology proves that people crave what feels secure and confident, and nothing looks more secure than someone who walks away without looking back. Your silence says, "I don't need to be chosen to feel valuable." That kind of energy lingers. It haunts. It captivates. When someone is used to you needing them, texting them, chasing their approval, and suddenly you stop, there's a void. And that void is loud. The human brain hates loss more than it enjoys gain. So when they feel the emotional distance, their mind starts to panic. They don't just miss you, they miss the version of themselves that was seen and loved by you. The Stoics believed in mastering one's own emotions rather than being mastered by them. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And that's exactly what happens in no contact. Their imagination creates a storm. They imagine you moving on. They imagine you thriving. They imagine you no longer caring. And every imagined scenario drives them deeper into obsession. That's why emotional detachment is so powerful. You've stopped feeding their ego. You've stopped confirming their importance. And in that absence, they're starving for the energy you used to pour into them. The irony: the more you let go, the tighter their mind holds on. That's the invisible pull of no contact. Quiet, powerful, unforgettable. Number 3. Silence triggers reflection, and reflection triggers regret. When you stop speaking, they finally start listening, but not to your words, to their own thoughts. Silence creates space, and in that space, the mind echoes. Every moment you're not around becomes a mirror, forcing them to confront what they lost and why. Most people don't realize what they had until it's quiet, until no more messages come through, until your presence is replaced by an uncomfortable emptiness. Psychology calls this the Zeigarnik effect. The mind tends to fixate on unfinished emotional experiences. That means your sudden absence becomes a mental loop they can't escape. They start wondering why you stopped caring. They wonder if you've replaced them. They question how someone who once cared so much can now be so calm. That reflection becomes regret, not always about losing you, but about not valuing you when they had the chance. The Stoics believed that true power lies in how you respond, not how you react. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your silence is your reaction. It's not passive, it's intentional. It sends a message without saying a word. I am no longer available for what doesn't grow me. And that message stings more than any argument ever could, because silence doesn't give them closure. It gives them confusion, and confusion breeds obsession. They try to solve you, decode your silence, retrace their steps to figure out what changed. And in that constant overthinking, you gain power without even being present. That's the beauty of no contact. It flips the dynamic. You stop chasing, you stop reacting, and suddenly they're the ones left haunted by the echoes of your absence. It's not revenge, it's reality. It's what happens when someone ignores the one thing they thought would always be there. Number 4, you're teaching them what life feels like without you. No contact isn't just about getting over them, it's about giving them the one lesson they refused to learn while they had you, what your absence really feels like. When you were available, they got used to your love. They got comfortable with your loyalty. They thought your effort was endless. But when you go silent, when you stop texting, calling, explaining, and chasing, you show them a reality they never prepared for. Life without your energy. And that's a shock to the system. Most people expect attention to return when they ignore it. They think silence will make you beg, but when it doesn't, when they realize they've been replaced by your peace, That's when the obsession begins. Now they're replaying old conversations in their mind. Now they're checking your online status, watching your stories, and wondering who has your attention now. They may not reach out right away, but believe this, they feel it. They feel your absence in the moments they used to take for granted. They scroll through their feed and hope for a glimpse of you, a sign, a mistake that shows you still care. But you don't give it. And that's where your power rises. The Stoics taught that you control only yourself, not others, not outcomes. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That means you don't have to match their silence with bitterness. You match it with growth. You use the no-contact period to rebuild, to reflect, to rise. Because while they're just starting to feel the void you left behind, you're already filling your own life with clarity, discipline, and peace. You're no longer emotionally available for confusion. You're no longer a placeholder. You're a storm they didn't see coming. That's what no contact teaches. Not just them, but you too. You learn your value in their silence. And they learn your value in your absence. And that lesson is unforgettable. Number 5, obsession begins when certainty ends. What drives people crazy isn't just your silence, it's the uncertainty it creates. When you go no contact, you take away the one thing they were sure of, your availability. Certainty is comfortable. Certainty makes people feel in control. But once you stop reaching out, once your energy disappears without warning, you disrupt their expectations. And suddenly, you're unpredictable. And that unpredictability is addictive. Psychology proves that intermittent reinforcement, where someone doesn't know when or if they'll hear from you again, creates obsession. It's the same psychological mechanism behind gambling addiction. The brain becomes hooked on uncertainty. So, while you may think you're just staying silent, you're actually triggering a psychological loop where they can't stop thinking about you. They check their phone more. They wonder if you've moved on. They imagine you with someone else. You've become the question that won't go away. And what's powerful is that you're doing nothing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." By holding your ground, by refusing to break the silence just to soothe your ego or anxiety, you train your mind to stay powerful, and that makes you unforgettable. Most people give in. Most people break no contact the moment they feel lonely. But the few who hold the line, they become a mystery. And mystery creates emotional gravity. You start to live rent-free in their mind. Not because you begged for space in their life, but because you stopped giving them free access to your peace. You stopped being an open book. And now, every page they didn't read is haunting them. No contact isn't a game, it's a declaration. It says, "I don't need to remind you of my worth. You'll feel it when I'm gone." And the moment they realize they no longer have control over your emotions, their own emotions spiral. That's how obsession begins. Not when you scream for attention, but when you remove it completely. Number 6. You're no longer feeding their ego. When you were in contact, when you kept replying to their half-hearted messages, liking their posts, checking in, even after they pushed you away, you were unknowingly feeding their ego. You made them feel wanted, desired, important. But once you enter no contact, you cut that supply, and suddenly they're starving. See, for many people it's not love they crave, it's attention. And when your attention disappears, they don't just miss you. They miss the feeling of being desired by you. That's what bruises their pride. And that bruise turns into obsession. They start asking themselves, why aren't they reacting to me anymore? Why haven't they checked my story? Why do I feel invisible to the one who used to see me the most? And that question cuts deeper than any insult. Because now you're showing them that your world doesn't revolve around them, that you've withdrawn your emotional investment, not to punish them, but to protect yourself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like your enemy. You don't seek revenge, you seek peace, you seek clarity, and in that quiet detachment you reclaim your power. You're no longer available for ego games. You're no longer addicted to the crumbs of affection. You're feeding your own soul now, and that terrifies them, because they never thought you'd stop showing up. They underestimated your silence. They thought they had you wrapped around their finger. But now, they're scrolling through your profile, wondering if you're happier without them. They're checking your timestamp and seeing nothing. They're hoping your next post will be about them, and realizing it never comes. That emptiness, that uncertainty, that silence, it becomes louder than any words you could say. You're not feeding their ego anymore. You're feeding your worth. And the moment they realize they can no longer manipulate your emotions, that's the moment they start spiraling. That's the moment they start obsessing, because the supply is gone, and they know they'll never find another version of you again. Number 7. Your absence forces them to face themselves. Most people don't miss you. They miss avoiding themselves when they're with you. They used your presence as a distraction from their own wounds, their guilt, their emptiness. But when you go no contact, when your voice vanishes, when your comfort is no longer available, they're left alone in silence. And that silence becomes a mirror. And what they see isn't always pretty. Suddenly, they remember the times they dismissed your efforts, the way they took your love for granted, the way they thought you'd never walk away. They replay conversations, reread messages, overanalyze what went wrong. And here's the twist. Your silence says more than any explanation ever could. Because you're not trying to make them feel bad. You're not chasing closure. You're simply gone. And that forces them to sit with the consequences of their actions. That's what obsession really is. The mind refusing to let go of what it never appreciated until it disappeared. In the words of Epictetus, people are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Your silence isn't what haunts them. It's the story they create around it. Are you happier without them? Have you finally moved on? Are you becoming someone they can no longer reach? That internal storm they're facing now? It's not about you anymore. It's about them finally confronting the reality they ignored while you were giving them everything. You were the mirror they avoided. Now, you've become the echo they can't escape. No contact gives you clarity, but it gives them consequence. It's no longer about making them miss you. It's about making space for yourself. And when they realize they're not just missing you, they're finally meeting themselves in the void you left behind. That's when the obsession begins. Because your absence didn't just remove comfort, it revealed truth. So now you understand, your silence isn't just silence, it's presence, it's power. It's the loudest message you'll ever send without saying a single word. While they're trying to figure out why you stopped reaching out, you're figuring yourself out. While they're scrolling through your past, you're walking boldly into your future. And that shift, that evolution, is what makes them obsessed. Because what you've shown is rare. You've proven that love doesn't mean losing yourself, that you can feel deeply but still choose distance, that no contact isn't about punishment, it's about protection. It's about choosing peace over chaos, dignity over desperation. Marcus Aurelius said, If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. And here's your truth. You were never the problem for caring too much. You were just giving your energy to someone who didn't know how to receive it. But now, you've changed the narrative. You've stopped giving a damn to get validation. You've started giving a damn about yourself. That's the transformation they never expected. That's what keeps them up at night. So stay on your path. Keep building, keep healing, keep rising. Let your silence remind them of the person they lost, the person they can no longer reach. And if this video spoke to you, if it reminded you of your strength, your worth, and your power, don't just watch in silence. Drop a comment, share your story, and hit that subscribe button right now. Because this journey of emotional strength, stoic clarity, and self-respect, it's only just beginning. Your silence has already said enough. Now, let your growth speak louder than their regrets.